Good evening, my friends. This is VJ Franz K. As you can see, I'm now rocking the new iPhone 6s Plus. And I got the Plus so I could see more music apps and other things that use up a lot of screen real estate. And what was the first app that I downloaded? It's a new port of a classic app, iDS10. This was originally made for the Nintendo DS. Actually, it was one of the first things that I reviewed on YouTube. So it's sort of coming full circle here. There are a lot of new features on this compared with the old version. It's quite different, actually. They've reorganized. So I'll give you a basic introduction. So what exactly is iDS10? It's an app for making music. You have two different synthesizer voices. In this case, I'm using a bass and a lead. And then you have a third synthesizer voice, which is more than the original DS10. In this case, it's a vocoder. So you can actually make it say words if you want, which is a very cool feature, and that hasn't been seen on this series before. So then we have drums, the usual types of drums. You have your kick, your snare, your hi-hats, a tom, and percussion. You can see all of the patterns here. Here, now we're in the drum edit mode. You can hear I'm adding more kicks. Our snares, changing. So then we have this mixer, we have effects. Each synthesizer voice has effects, as well as a master send effect that you can select the amount of for each voice. You have these sliders. Actually, you can see my classic reviews of DS10, because it really is sort of an expansion. This is just the beginning. I'll get into more depth with this later on. Just wanted to show you this app. It's a good one. Now, this could be the best music making app for iPhone, because we don't have Gadget on iPhone, even though it would be nice if the Gadget would run on 6s Plus. I'm going to go ahead and make a pattern from scratch. And so how do we do that? Alright, on your menu, let's see, you want to go to the main part, then select Menu, Session, load a new session, and then select Init. Yes. So now, if you know the DS10, you'll recognize that instantly as the beginning pattern of DS10. So that's a bass line. Yes, you'll notice this does sound a lot like a video game. And, partially that is because it's from the Nintendo cartridge a couple of years ago, which is also another sequel to it is DSN-12 for your 3DS Nintendo. You can sort of use that as I usually put the bass on synthesizer 1, the lead on synthesizer 2. I'll use the third voice for strings or something. In this case, it's a voice. Let's try the voice. Sounds like it's saying Franz almost, doesn't it? Alright, so we can type in here what we would like it to say. I'm just going to type in the word synthesizer. That's a good one. You can control the speed. Let's lower this. Are you starting to notice a similarity with the Transformers? Soundwave. Yes, his voice was a classic vocoder. And you can use this to create your own sort of electro-pop recordings, Daft Punk or what have you, you know. I'm sure people will be making Daft Punk covers with this in no time, but, you know, there's a lot more to vocoders than just Daft Punk. You know, Kraftwerk was one of the first to use it. Now I'm going to make a more complicated drum pattern. Go to the drum section, and then flip this over. So we're adding some hats in there. Some snares, of course. So then I can flip over to this side, and previously all of the drum voices were the same, but in this case each one is separated with its own special parameters, which makes operating it easier for a beginner, because you don't have to completely start from scratch. You can get some really nice bass if you have a speaker out, as you notice. On the mixer, I'm going to turn off these effects on my voices because that chorus is doing weird things. And I'll fade these guys down. We go back to the drum page. So we've got our synthesizers basically in place. Yes, synthesizer. Notice I also have my master effect. That's kind of nice. Chorus. This time we'll record a drum pattern. Let me show you. On this set, you have your patterns here. Here is where your BPM is. So we can turn this up or down to the right setting that you want. $111. You can turn the swing up or down if you want to make hip-hop, techno, house, whatever. Nice little electro drum pattern there. And I will later show you how to use the delays to get the sort of trap rolling hat sound that you want. I'm sure you do, because that is what the style is right now. So, but we're going to do a basic song with chords, because this has song mode. So just draw in a basic bass line. So there it is. Pretty basic bass line. Extremely basic bass line. So here we go into the song, and we can play the song. Right now we have only one pattern, but we can put in calls for the second pattern and then the third pattern to make, you know, your full song sequence. I haven't yet seen the way to make the whole song loop, but we'll get into that in just a minute. So now it's going to hit pattern 2, but pattern 2 is empty, so that's not right.
BJ Franz K, Video and Music Tech Reviews. If you enjoy watching my videos, please consider getting one of these t-shirts. You'll look cool, and you'll also help support me in producing more of these. I thank you for all your subscriptions, for all your comments, everything. Tell me what you would like to see reviewed in the next episodes. If you have an app that you'd like to see on this program, please send a promo code or something else, and I will definitely check it out. Thank you very much for watching. BJ Franz K. See you next time.
So here is our iElectribe R. Actually, it's starting to look like a miniature Electribe R, as this phone is larger than my previous one. And I've got these red edges on my case. It can be helpful to have both of these apps if you really want to understand what drum synthesis is. See, we have this low sort of bass pitch that we can control the pitch of. Then it is creating this modulation here, the mod depth and the mod speed. It's taking that single bass sound that could be one of these different oscillators and sloping it down. Or you can use the oscillators to do other weird things with it, but they don't necessarily sound like kick drums. So here we are back in sort of kick drum territory. This one comes in default, sounding like a snare, but pretty soon you can adjust these to sound like different sort of electric noises. Yes, it did take me a while to figure this out. When I first got an Electribe R, I was relatively inexperienced with synthesizers, and at first I had a hard time making it make any sounds that sounded like drums at all. So this is actually not necessarily a beginner's program unless you start from the presets. But watch enough of my videos, you'll understand everything perfectly, right? Now, unlike the original Electribe R, we can turn the effects on for some voices and off for others, which is nice. Now, we used to have just one effect on the Electribe R. It was delay, but now we have all of these. the decimator, also known as bit crush. You know, make distorted, sort of hardcore or industrial kind of beats. Yeah, the talk mod is the most unusual effect here that you have. Actually sounds kind of like it's coming from a human voice or a human robot voice. But there's the grain. A lot of interesting effects there. And yes, you can sequence this. Might take you a minute to make it make sense. Yes, and you can even change the effect type. Pretty soon, things can be really, really strange. Anyway, see my other video about iElectribe R for iPhone and for the iPad. It's a great machine. You can do all kinds of interesting things. Electro, IDM, trap, you name it. Well, it doesn't do everything, but what it does very interestingly. It's a nice drum synthesizer, so VJ Franz K. Authority on iOS music ever since the early days. People didn't believe that iOS was going to be a major music platform, but I could tell from the very beginning it was going to be something special. Don't forget to see my classic review of iElectribe for iPad. It's pretty weird, isn't it? Another thing I'd like to show you is on the drums. All of these drums are being synthesized. So you can change the sound of your kick drum right in the middle of playing it. And that's interesting. In fact, you can even record changes in the knobs here. Create interesting rhythmic effects. Pretty soon you've got a very strange situation going on. Now, because all of these things are synthesized right in front of your face, they are live adjustable. You can make a lot of interesting experimental type sounds here. I always like to get the experimental as well as the mainstream, just to show you that you can use it to make some unusual stuff. So we'll go in here to the main, then I'll go into the drums. We'll solo the drum synthesizer. You can see we have the hats here. Notice I've automated the decay to create this sort of stepping pattern. On my percussion, I'm getting that sort of computery sound by using the LFO on the speed of the LFO to modulate the tune of this oscillator here. Yes, it is a lot like iElectribe, and we also have iElectribe for iPhone now, so you can cover similar territory. The difference is that iElectribe is mainly a drum machine. It doesn't have tone synthesizer voices, even though if you're really clever you can synthesize tones out of it anyway, but you know, that's interesting. And then on the mixer, of course, we have all sorts of unusual effects that we can put everything through, like the delay section here. See, pretty soon we've turned a sort of mainstream sounding piece into this strange experimental soundscape. Another interesting thing we could do on these synthesizers, tap this to flip between the control panel here and the sequencer. Has a little oscilloscope that you can see your waveforms evolving. You can have fun messing with them as you do your thing. Oh, it's muted, so I need to solo this one in. Alright, so back to the synthesizer voice. Looking at this. So then we have over here a semi-modular setup where you can plug these yellow patch cables into these, and this is where it starts to look like the classic MS-10 and synthesizer, which the DS10 is named after and originally resembles. So just have fun messing around with these patch cables, and I'm just messing around randomly here, but this is your key to creating a lot more interesting and unique sounds than you otherwise would be able to do. So and notice on each synthesizer voice we get another dedicated effect, so it's sort of like the new Electribes in that way, where the voice gets its own effect.